half an hour, 40 minutes. We'll see how it goes. And then, devotees, we will have kirtan for a while, for half an hour, or for a while. Okay. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Welcome. Uvidam Sapoja. Haribol. Kirtan. Okay. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna. Hare Hare. Devotees, Srila Prabhupada has just arrived in New Delhi with Kirtanananda Das. And they've taken a taxi, 2 in the morning. 2 in the morning, they've taken a taxi over to Old Delhi, Chippiwada, where Prabhupada has a room. The people from that place, like the landlord, you could say, there was an arrangement to pick up Prabhupada from the airport, but nobody showed up. So they had to take taxi. So now they've arrived there, and the door is locked. Let us see what happens. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Shamati Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharne Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschachade Shatarne Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadha Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Vanchkalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha, Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Right, so they walk a block from where the taxi dropped them off, and arrived at the door of the temple. It's actually a temple, or there's a temple there. It's a house also. The Chippiwada Radhakrishna temple, and it was locked. As they pounded loudly, Prabhupada called out for Sri Krishna Pandit until a man came to the door, recognized Prabhupada, and let them in. The man showed them upstairs and unlocked the door to Prabhupada's room. Prabhupada turned on the light. The room was bare and dusty, and the bulb hanging from the ceiling created stark light and shadows. On the floor was the 3-foot-high cement dome, indicating that directly below were the altar and the deities of Radha and Krishna. Do we still use the rooms in the tower? Storage of just deity storage? Oh. Is there something over the deities? I know we used to keep a cupboard over. Anyway, okay. Because it's very traditional to put a little sort of triangular kind of sort of thing over deities so nobody walks over them. Anyway. Right, ho. The dome prevented anyone from accidentally committing the offense of walking directly above the deities. The closet was stacked with printed Srimad Bhagavatam pages, Srimad Bhagavatam dust jackets, and form letters to prospective members of the League of Devotees. Everything was just as Prabhupada had left it. Do you want to use this phone?
No, it's working.
It's good enough?
We just shared your Facebook.
Oh, it's still going, is it? Oh, okay. Right, so this is the room where I compiled Srimad Bhagavatam. Srila Prabhupada told Kirtanananda, I slept here, and over here was my cooker and my typewriter. I would sleep and type and cook and type and sleep and type. Kirtanananda was shocked to think of Swamiji living here in such a poor, humble place. It wasn't even clean. Although Kirtanananda was uncomfortable in his suit, because he has a heavy black wool suit, as in suit and tie, business suit. Yeah, so he was uncomfortable and wondered when he would be able to get rid of it. He managed to get a thin mattress for Swamiji. 2 Ayurvedic doctors came. They both agreed that the trouble was Swamiji's heart, but that the danger was now past. They gave him medicines and advised him to keep a regulated schedule of eating, resting, and working. Sri Krishna Pandit came by to sit and converse, and Prabhupada told him of his success in America and of all the young devotees in New York and San Francisco. Prabhupada played his record for Sri Krishna Pandit, and this drew a crowd of curious persons from other rooms in the temple. In the afternoon, Prabhupada developed a cough. It didn't seem serious, and he said he wanted to travel the next day to Vrindavan. But by evening, the cough had become persistent. He couldn't rest. Kirtanananda tried massages and the pills the Ayurvedic doctors had prescribed, but nothing worked. Prabhupada remained awake all night, and when Kirtanananda touched him in the morning, he was feverish. The doctors came again. Prabhupada's temperature was over 104. That's death, more or less. They gave teas and Ayurvedic powders, while Kirtanananda looked on skeptically. Because Prabhupada was having a lot of difficulty breathing when he lay down, Kirtanananda thought it might be pneumonia. So Kirtanananda gave him penicillin, of which he had brought a supply. In the afternoon, an elderly Sikh doctor who practiced Western medicine came by and gave Prabhupada a penicillin injection. Prabhupada then fell asleep and rested quietly for the first time in 24 hours. While Prabhupada slept, Kirtanananda wrote a letter to his godbrothers in New York, quote, "I know you would like me to say straight out my opinion as to how he is, and that is not good. The outcome as always, but now very apparently, is only in Krishna's hands. Please chant in capital letters, Hare Krishna, for that is the only thing that can save him. That is what saved him before, and that can do it again. I know that his task is not yet complete, and by Krishna's mercy, he can again be spared." Unquote. Kirtanananda also asked the New York devotees to call the devotees in San Francisco, Santa Fe, and Boston, and have them continue chanting for Swamiji's health. He reminded them to strictly follow all of Swamiji's instructions. The next day, Srila Prabhupada's fever was down to 100.6, which is still not good at all. He was still sick, but he talked again of going to Vrindavan. I dictated a letter to his book-selling agents in Delhi, Atmarama and Sons, asking them for an up-to-date account of their sales of his Srimad Bhagavatam. Old acquaintances came by and were disappointed to find Swamiji unable to accept their invitations. Prabhupada asked that they invite Kirtanananda in his stead. For several days, Kirtanananda visited the homes of these pious Hindus. He played the record on his portable phonograph, chanting along and dancing with his arms upraised. Then he would give a short speech. His hosts accepted him as a sadhu, fascinated that an American had taken so seriously to Krishna consciousness. I can, this is, what is this now, 1967. I can relate to you all my own experience with a group of devotees in 76, so 9 years later. It was February, I think, or probably February. So like 8.5 years later, something like that. I remember vividly, we flew from Delhi to Calcutta. We landed in Delhi, stayed a couple of nights, flew to Calcutta, then we were to take the train to Navadweep. And so we had to go to Howrah station, which is big station in Calcutta. So there was a group of us. Might have been 20 or something, 15 or 20 of us. And all, what I think probably all of us were white. So we were just there, waiting for something, standing outside Howrah Station. And these local people just gathered around us. And more until there was at least 50 or 60 or something. And they just stood there and just looked at us. And just looked at us. And then they just looked at us. And after that, they just looked at us. Like you wouldn't believe. Like you wouldn't believe. People could do it. It was sort of like, children are just very out front. It was amazing. And we would, of course, they didn't speak to us, and none of us spoke Bengali. And we didn't speak to them, because I'm sure they didn't speak English. But we did things like, sometimes if someone's just staring at you, sometimes you may go, like that, sort of, and then they may realize, oops, I shouldn't stare. So we did that sort of thing. It had no effect. Honestly, it had no effect whatsoever. And we were there for, it might have been half an hour waiting for something. And they were all there for half an hour. And they were all just there. It was amazing. It was really amazing. Anyway, okay. Okay, so, yes. Because, in those days, the history and the abuses through the history, for a few hundred years, the British for I don't know how long it was actually, but, a fair time, and the Muslims for even longer. So the idea that a foreigner could take up their culture is just impossible. It's just impossible. Yeah. So it was just like totally unbelievable for them. On August the 1st, after 6 days in Delhi, Prabhupada went to Vrindavan. Kirtanananda wrote back to New York, "My dear brothers and sisters, greetings in the name of Krishna from Vrindavan." He hasn't learnt yet the etiquette. When you write a letter, "Dear such and such, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Prabhupada." Takes time. Obviously, Swamiji is much better, especially after reaching Vrindavan. His eyes now have a special glow. We left Delhi yesterday, 31st, morning, on the Taj Express, and in 2 hours we're at Mathura. We rode special 3rd class, and it was quite satisfactory. Yeah, they don't have that any longer, 3rd class unreserved. But they used to. I mentioned, well, maybe you're not aware, we went from Puri to Calcutta in 79, 3rd class unreserved. And it's just packed out completely. And it's an overnight train ride. So me and another devotee, we ended up, there was a luggage rack which was wood, narrower than this. It was like about a foot wide or something like that. 2 of us in the luggage rack. One this way and the other one this way. And that was it. We were in the luggage rack for the whole night. Seriously. Oh yeah. Those were the days. What on earth? But they rode special 3rd class, and it was quite satisfactory, not at all crowded, like the usual 3rd class. Sure. Anyway, we're now here and are in the process of settling down. Swamiji has 2 very nice rooms, quite cool, just off the porch where the Bhagavatam is read. How appropriate. The only difficulty on his behalf is that these Indians all want to see him, and they're very persistent, and I'm not very successful in keeping them out. Vrindavan, seen materially, is a very beautiful place. The country is very flat, and there are many trees, monkeys, peacocks, and of course temples. It is also very poor. Both the people and the temples are in a bad state of disrepair. But spiritually considered, there are many great devotees here, and it's wonderful to walk down the streets and see tilaks all over the place and people chanting on their beads. If I can develop a fraction of their devotion for Krishna, my life will be successful. It is also thrilling to hear the temple bells ringing so many times throughout the day. Last night, I played our record for Lord Damodar here in the temple, and then performed kirtan with some of the local devotees. It was very nice. But you'll be surprised, I think, when I say that I prefer your kirtan in New York. After Prabhupada had been in Vrindavan only one day, and his health had only slightly improved, he began planning his return to America. I'm always thinking of you, he wrote to the devotees, whom he addressed as his dear students. Quote, I cannot stop my Western world activities, and I've taken leave from you only for 6 months. And it may be that on or before I will come to you again. Kirtanananda says, from my bodily feature that I'm improving. I'm also feeling like that. Unquote. In Delhi, Prabhupada had received a letter from Brahmananda saying that the Macmillan Company was definitely interested in publishing the Bhagavad Gita. In Vrindavan, Prabhupada wrote Brahmananda to sign a contract at once on his behalf. Prabhupada had been considering whether to print privately in Japan or India, or to wait for Macmillan. He wasn't concerned with the prestige and financial advantages of publishing through Macmillan. His first concern was to print as quickly as possible. Quote, I shall be satisfied with the commission and shall only be glad to see that the books are being read by hundreds and thousands of men. Whatever profit may be derived from it will be utilized for the development of an American house here. Unquote. Prabhupada stayed in his old rooms at the Radha Damodar temple. Still incapacitated, he was being massaged and cared for by Kirtanananda, who himself was listless and tired from the heat. You know, I took a group of devotees in 95, and it was still it was just after the rainy season. So it means it was probably early September, like late August, early September. And they have what's called, have you heard the term Indian summer? Have you heard that? It means that first they have summer, and, you know, in most of India, that's really quite something. Like temperatures, depends where, but Vrindavan area, Govardhan, 50, 55. Yeah, it really is hot. And then the rainy season starts and the temperatures go down. And, you know, it may be sort of 30, 35. But then the rainy season stops and the temperatures go up again. not 50, 55, but they go up over 40. And so I won't mention any names, but one devotee in particular, because it really was quite hot. You don't get it so hot here. He was drinking cold drinks because it's really hot. Cold drinks, cold water, cold drinks, cold water, liters. And you know what happened? He got a cold. Yeah. Because it affects the lungs. Yeah. Okay. So, right. There was so much to do. He wanted to return by October and oversee things personally. Temperatures rose to more than 110 degrees Fahrenheit. I don't know what that is. It's 40-something. About there, yeah. So it's hot. And Prabhupada and Kirtanananda had to stay inside with the doors shut and the overhead fan on. Although Kirtanananda could barely perform his duties, Prabhupada found the heat bracing and said that it was restoring his health. Then after the first week, the monsoon rains began and the heat broke. On August the 10th, Kirtanananda wrote home again, quote, "God, is it a hot place?" But at last the rains have started again, and there's some relief from the heat. You can believe me when I say it was hot. But now it is raining a great deal of the time, and that has made the weather quite comfortable for me, but unfortunately not for Swamiji. Also, I've developed the inevitable case of dysentery, which has been persisting for about a week now. Yesterday began the festival of Julan, in which Radha and Krishna come out and swing for about 5 days. So I made the rounds of about half a dozen temples here. Some of them are extremely beautiful inside, although most are small. Still, I can say this with all truthfulness and sincerity, that none are so transcendently beautiful and spiritual as 3720 Park Avenue, Montreal. And I think even Swamiji would agree with me there. Unquote. Kirtanananda's letter gave heart to the devotees back home and confirmed their suspicion. It was not Hinduism, not India. It was Swamiji and chanting Hare Krishna that was sustaining their spiritual life. As Prabhupada's spiritual children wrote from the fledgling centers in half a dozen cities in North America, he would reply, quote, "Vrindavan is an inspiration only, but our real field work is all over the world. Even if I die, you are my future hopes, and you will do it. I'm feeling very much for you all. Please let the ball roll on, just as it is set." Unquote. Brahmananda wrote from New York, asking for an explanation of why Swamiji, a pure devotee, was suffering serious illness. Prabhupada had explained that conditioned souls and even beginning devotees are, quote unquote, attacked by Maya. But was Swamiji also being attacked by Maya? On August 14th, that was my birthday, 1967, yeah, I was in high school. On August 14th, Srila Prabhupada replied, quote, "Don't be afraid of my being attacked by Maya. When there is fight between two belligerent parties, it is always expected that there will sometimes be reverses. Your country in the Western world is mostly under the grip of Maya and the modes of nature in passion and ignorance, and my declaration of war against the Maya is certainly a great battle. Maya saw me very successful within 1 year, so that I got so many sincere young followers like yourself and others. So it was a great defeat to the activities of Maya. Western country youngsters giving up illicit sex, intoxication, meat-eating and gambling is certainly a great reverse in the activities of Maya. Therefore she took advantage of my old age weakness and gave me a death dash. But Krishna saved me. Therefore we should thank more Krishna than eulogize Maya. So far as my present health is concerned, I think I'm improving. At least I'm taking lunch better than in New York. So as soon as I'm a little fit to return to the field of battle, I shall again be in your midst." I'll just read. Oh yeah, okay, another 5 minutes. Srila Prabhupada envisioned an American house, a place where resident disciples could study Sanskrit and Vaishnav literature in Vrindavan. When he had suffered his stroke, he had said that Roy Ram should finish the translation of the Bhagavatams. He had also requested Achyutananda, Gaurasundar, and others to learn Sanskrit, Bengali, and Hindi, so that if he did not recover, they could carry on his work. And he hoped that some of his leading men, like Brahmananda, Hayagriva, and Roy Ram, would come to India, obtain property, and establish his American house. "Even if I am well," he wrote on September the 9th, "it is not possible for me to look after the affairs of the American house." Prabhupada decided to ask one of his godbrothers, Swami B.H. Bon Maharaj, to accommodate some students from America at his Institute of Oriental Philosophy. Swami Bon Maharaj's institute was a provincial college of about 300 students, located in Vrindavan and affiliated with Agra University. It was what is known in India as a degree college, an institution geared toward improving the economic condition of its graduates by making them eligible for better jobs. In other words, not very spiritual. Prabhupada's, yeah. Anyway, Prabhupada, I don't know if it's here, but Prabhupada's asked Bon Maharaj to, because Bon Maharaj, of course, he passed away years ago, but he had a big piece of land right over the road from the Krishna Balaram temple. And Prabhupada asked him if he would donate some land so for Prabhupada to use early on. But Bon Maharaj refused. And Prabhupada told one of his disciples that he said, I knew he would refuse. Prabhupada said, even if Lord Caitanya approached him personally and asked for some land, he would refuse. Swami Bon, When Srila Prabhupada and Caitanya visited Swami Bon Maharaj at the Institute of Oriental Philosophy, Swami Bon received them in a clean parlor, furnished with chairs, couches, and a radio. Swami Bon, wearing leather slippers, shorts visible through his thin dhoti, and an ironed shirt with brass studs, appeared suave and sophisticated, an educated man with straight, neatly parted graying hair. Although a resident of Vrindavan, in the 1930s he had spent several years in England, where he had been received by members of the royal family and had lectured at a number of colleges, but he had aroused no lasting interest. When Prabhupada had been struggling alone in New York in 1965, he had written to Swami Bon asking for help, but Swami Bon had not responded. Even now, as Prabhupada told him of the work in America, Bon Maharaj didn't have much to say, but he was interested in the prospect of Americans coming to live and study at his institute. Foreign students would enhance the prestige of the institute in the eyes of the government. He said the students could possibly be accommodated free of charge. Encouraged by the meeting with Bon Maharaj, Prabhupada wrote several letters to his disciples, inviting them to come and study Sanskrit. Quote, "If you want to learn Sanskrit, there is ample opportunity in this institute. We had some preliminary talks, and it is hopeful that Swami Bon can give us some land for our own building. But even so, arrangements can be made with the existing facilities so that there would be no difficulty for the students who come here to study Sanskrit and the Goswami literature. It is a good opportunity for our students, and I shall be very glad to learn how many of you desire to come." On Janmashtami Day, August 28th, Srila Prabhupada awarded the order of sannyas to Caitanya in a ceremony in the Radha Damodar temple. Caitanya thus became Srila Prabhupada's first disciple to become a sannyasi, Caitanya Swami. During the initiation, hundreds of visitors were present, observing the birthday of Lord Krishna, and many of them came by to congratulate the young sannyasi. Someone said he looked like Lord Caitanya. Srila Prabhupada wrote, quote, "He will be going back to the States very soon to begin preaching work with greater vigor and success. In the meantime, I shall try to utilize this quote-unquote white sannyasi for recruiting some members in India." Yeah, you know, Prabhupada, I'm sure you know in essence the story. Before Prabhupada went to America and he was preaching in India, and he established the League of Devotees, and he was really trying hard to get people involved and to really take it up seriously, but it didn't really happen. It didn't really happen. He initiated one young man in Jhansi, but that young man was a working man and he just wasn't that serious, really. But when Prabhupada started bringing in the white young people, particularly the actual Americans, then people became interested. Yeah, people started becoming interested because it's such a a novelty. These Americans actually becoming Vaishnavas. Yeah, because materially, America was, particularly in those days, taken so seriously. You know the one story, let me just tell you this one story, that Prabhupada was in Mayapur being interviewed by some journalist, and the journalist was aware that in Mayapur, Navadweep, in the area, there are two groups of devotees with two different opinions about the birthplace of Lord Caitanya. Our group, the followers from Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta, and Prabhupada, we accept that the birthplace is on the eastern side of the Ganges as it flows now. But a lot of people from the sort of the caste Goswami side and the caste Brahmin side, the people like that, they all take it to be on the western side. Yeah. And there's been a controversy for a long time. So the interviewer said to Srila Prabhupada that, you people feel that the birthplace of Lord Caitanya is here on the eastern side, but many people feel it's on the western side. And the fellow asked, well, what if you're wrong? And Prabhupada said, no, we're not wrong. This is authenticated by scripture, by great devotees in disciplic succession. So we're not wrong. But the man persisted. But on the other side, they also have some scripture and authoritative people who say it's over there. And Prabhupada said, no, and it went back and forth a little. And the man was still insisting, what if you've made a mistake? Now you've invested so much money here. What if you've made a mistake? And you've made a bad investment? And there were some American disciples in Prabhupada's room there with him and the man. And Prabhupada pointed to the Americans and he said, you see these men, they are Americans. Do you think they would make a bad investment? And the journalist said, oh, okay, yes. He accepted that. Yes. Yeah. Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So, okay, we'll have a kirtan. Now, Arjuna Charan Prabhu, can you please come out here? We just got to get this speaker set up. Yeah, we're going to use this mic, right? But through the speaker. Yeah? Is it set up already? Oh, it is. Okay, sorry. We what? Oh yeah, okay. But I can use this one. We can use this one. Okay. Can we turn it around? And how do we turn it on? How do we press this thing? Haribol. Haribol, Haribol. Can I make it louder? Anyone know? You know how to make it louder? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama. Okay, I guess that'll do. Is it, what level's it on actually? Is it half or quarter or three quarters or what is it? Oh, I see. Okay, now we need a mridanga player. Yeah. Do you mind coming and playing mridanga?